Hey everybody, it's Dr. Sam Robbins. I've gotten a lot of questions about this drug, and so today I want to discuss quickly Xanax, one of the most highly prescribed and used drugs in the world for many, many years. In fact, it's one that I used myself in the past, and I'll share that story with you in a minute. Now, Xanax, which is the trade name for the drug Alprazolam, is generally prescribed for anxiety and panic disorders. It's also used for depression and pain as well, and lots of people use it for sleep. It works by calming down your nervous system and slowing things down, basically helping you feel calmer and more relaxed. It's a benzodiazepine medication, similar to Valium, Ativan, and about 15 similar types of drugs. Now, these drugs all work similarly. Now, some of the main differences between them is how quickly they are in and out of your system, basically the half-life of the drug. So why do so many people use Xanax and similar benzo drugs? And actually, the statistics are showing that women use them more than men these days, and people are using them at an earlier age. So how do they work? What are the benefits and the side effects? And finally, what about natural alternatives, such as eating specific foods and different types of exercises and herbs and vitamins and meditation and so forth? And I'll quickly go over each of these, so let's get started. Now, as stated earlier, Xanax and similar benzo drugs work to help you relax. They're used by people who have anxiety or panic attacks. They're under extra stress or worry, and also for sleep and pain management. Now, when someone takes Xanax or other benzos, they stimulate the inhibiting neurotransmitter responsible for how calm or relaxed we feel, which is called GABA. Now, GABA is meant to be our natural tranquilizer, but if you have anxiety or panic disorders, Xanax works by binding to these receptors and stimulating its production. Essentially, Xanax works by slowing the brain activity, which results in a calm, relaxed effect for users. Now, when you experience excessive stress or anxiety, it causes the brain to increase its neuron activity, and that activity is what leads to the resulting feeling of anxiety. So how Xanax works is by diminishing this activity. Now, something to note here is that like any drug, it works with the existing processes within your body. Even though it is a man-made drug, it still works with your natural internal system, such as the GABA. So the good news is that you don't need drugs and you can do this naturally, which I tell you about in a minute. So let's talk about the negatives. These type of drugs are basically downers. They're not uppers and have the usual effects of feeling tired and drowsy. However, they have lots of other negative side effects that people don't usually know about, such as sleep problems and insomnia, which makes no sense since you'd think that you'd be tired all the time and you could fall asleep at night. But after a few weeks, the opposite happens because of neurological changes. Also, you start feeling unmotivated and depressed. Xanax and similar drugs are in fact a depressant. And the irony is that some doctors actually prescribe Xanax for people who have depression, ultimately making things even worse. There's also a loss of sex drive for women and men, plus impotence and erectile problems for men. There is muscle loss and fat gain. Basically, your body composition changes for the worse. And there's memory loss and a 50% increased risk for dementia. Yep, you're killing your brain with these drugs. Also, you're dying prematurely by 400%. And this is the scariest of all because there's a 4 times higher risk of dying early and getting certain cancer with these drugs. Of course, Xanax and similar benzo drugs are highly addictive, and thus it's extremely difficult to get off of them. They're both physically and emotionally addictive. So if you ever want to stop using them, please do not do so cold turkey or abruptly. It must be done very slowly and gradually. People have even committed suicide getting off of such drugs too quickly because of the intense anxiety and panic attacks due to the negative rebound effect. You also need to make changes in your lifestyle as well, such as the diet and exercise, stress management, supplements, and so forth. And that's what I'll be talking about as well. However, as stated, I wanted to share with you my own personal experience with Xanax. So for those of you who know me or have seen my videos, you've heard me say that I've never been a good sleeper, even as a child. I'm a very light sleeper. Any little thing wakes me up. Plus, my mind is always racing and thinking. I'm either excited about something or, trying to fix or figure out a solution to a problem in my head. So anyways, it was about 20 years ago, and I hadn't had a good night's sleep for actually 2 or 3 nights. And my girlfriend at the time told me to take Xanax because that's what she takes when she can't sleep. And she said basically it'll help me relax, it'll calm my mind so I can sleep. Now, I had never taken it and I didn't want to, but honestly, I had a super busy week and I figured, okay, I'll do this just this one time. So she gave me the pill, but I only took half the dose, which was, I think, 0.25 milligrams, which is the smallest dose you can take. And I ended up having the best night's sleep, all right? I slept like a baby, and it was amazing. Now, to make a long story short, I started using Xanax, once in a while. Then it was more and more often. And next thing you know, I was using it at least 3 or 4 times weekly, right before bed for sleep. But unfortunately, like any drug, it wasn't working like it used to, so I slowly increased the dose. And the nights I didn't take it, I barely slept and had horrible insomnia. Thus, I was now officially addicted to Xanax. I could also tell that my brain chemistry was changing, right? And to make matters worse, I was also very unmotivated. I had no excitement and no enthusiasm about anything. Now, I wasn't depressed, but I wasn't happy either. Nothing really made me happy. And I didn't want to do anything or go anywhere or talk to anybody unless I had to. And everything started to suffer in my life. My relationships, work, school, and the gym, right? I was getting weaker, smaller, and fatter. And as much as I didn't want to, right, I knew I had to get off Xanax. So over the next few months, it was horrible, right? Even though I slowly got off the drug, I still had the side effects and the withdrawals. And I started to actually have anxiety throughout the day. Like almost any little thing stressed me out. And I was also very, very moody. And of course, my sleep was horrible, worse than ever. So, of course, I did research to see how I can fix things quicker and get back to normal faster. And in the process, I learned a lot. And the first is I made some big lifestyle changes. I first started exercising during different times of the day. I also started eating different foods and taking various supplements, all of which quickly improved my neurotransmitters, my neurons, my brain chemicals, and helped fix so much of everything that the Xanax broke. And over the next few months, things went back to normal. I felt happy and motivated again. My body improved, my memory was good, and this time I figured out how to also improve my sleep naturally. I never ever wanted to go through that hell again. And the bottom line here is that most people can make dramatic improvements in their anxiety, feel more relaxed and happy if you make some simple and easy modifications in your life. Most people do not need such addictive drugs, and nobody should be taking them long term, which is what I want to discuss in my next video. How to naturally reduce and even avoid anxiety and similar feelings without drugs. So you can access this next video right here on YouTube by clicking the link below in the description area. So if you're thinking about taking Xanax or similar benzo drugs, or maybe you're currently using it and you want to stop, check out the next video about natural and proven approaches for relieving anxiety, feeling more confident, and getting a good night's sleep, all natural with